our hot water tap started imitating our cold water taps. So I came upstairs in the attic and was like, you know, my hot water heater should not look like that or like this. And I checked the date, and this was made in like 2008. It's 2024. I figure 16 years is probably pretty good life out of a hot water heater, and it was time to, you know, give it a break, let it go to hot water heater heaven, and put in a new one. So this is how I did that. Definitely beware though, in some jurisdictions, a lot of times hot water heater does need to be permitted or at least inspected. Whoever your code enforcement is will want to come out and look just to make sure everything's good, because obviously water leaks are very bad for homes. And if you run off gas, like mine's liquid propane, anytime you mess with any gas lines, they always want to come out and check. Just make sure you don't, you know, kill your family in their sleep or burn your house down or anything. So anyway, here's how I did it.
So first thing I did, of course, was hook up a water hose. That way I can drain the water heater. It's going to be a whole lot easier to move this thing if it doesn't, you know, have an extra 400 pounds or so of water sitting in it. Then I went ahead and disconnected my gas fitting. Of course, if you have electric, you disconnect your electrical. Just a little twist connector, so not a big deal. And then I went ahead and took the seat belts off. Whoever installed this did a really good job. As you can tell, it's a nice clean install, and they got all the safety straps to make sure it doesn't, you know, rock around and have anything knock loose easily or anything. They were a little bit finicky, but it didn't take me too long to get them off, and I like that I can totally reuse these on the new ones. Then I went about going ahead and cutting all the in pipes and out pipes, and I opened all the hot water taps down below to help make sure all the water actually got out of these pipes, so it didn't have any hanging out. Of course, mine is a PEX to copper install with the copper going directly to the hot water heater. And on the inlet side, I made sure to cut after the valve to make sure I could go ahead and reuse that valve and not have to replace it. And with all the water out, these things are only about 100-ish or so pounds, so not too bad to bear hug and lift out, but definitely easier if you got someone around that can help you if there's space. There would have been space here, but it wasn't too bad. And I went ahead and replaced my pan. If you notice, that is code to have a pan, and you cannot use the plastic pans if you have a gas water heater. So make sure it's metal. As you can see behind that one, I've got the new one. And also, it's best to try to move these in the boxes if at all possible, just so you don't damage it getting it in place. And you can always run a cut up the long side of the box if you don't have room to just completely pull it off the top. And once I got it all unboxed, it's pretty easy. Again, I think this one said it weighed like 120 pounds, so not horrible for a 40-gallon water heater, and got it set in place where the water lines would be able to reach it fine, and I could reuse the safety straps. Now, I made sure to use some Teflon tape on the dielectric fittings. This has dielectric fittings, so don't really have to worry about what type of fitting I put on here, but because the flex hose I'm using has brass screw-ons, I made sure to also get brass elbows to connect. And I probably am losing a little bit of water flow with these elbows right off the tank instead of having like a straight run, but I'm not going to sweat it too much. We have pretty decent water pressure here. But I made sure that I have brass to brass. Anytime you mix the type of metals and fittings, you can get dissimilar metal corrosion. And I know I'm going to get hate because I'm using these push-to-connect shark bite fittings, but they are rated for 25 years, and I'm going into copper. I think the most of the times that these fail is because people are putting them on PEX, and they don't make sure that PEX is good and straight, has a little bend in it, and not fully seating it all the way. And that's when you're going to get leaks. Also, this is in a place where it's really easy for me to come inspect and ever change it if I have any issues. So I feel totally comfortable just using the shark bite fitting with the flex hose on this. Now, if you want to keep all copper, if you have copper and you know how to do that, then you don't need me to tell you how to do it. And if you have copper and want to keep copper and don't know how to do it, then there's lots of videos on the internet showing you how to sweat and solder copper, but that's not something I want to learn how to do. Now, of course, with gas, I also have the flue, so I made sure to get all that situated back in place and all screwed down together, so that way if there's any little wobbling or anything, this don't disconnect. Definitely don't want those exhaust gases just going anywhere in my attic. And then made sure to put the safety belts back onto the new water heater so it's also nice and stable and in place and doesn't try to launch through my ceiling or anything crazy. And the last thing I connected, of course, was the gas line, and I'm not going to go over lighting procedures because that's going to be different for whatever water heater you have. Also, I hadn't filled up the tank yet, and you want to do that before you know, light the fire under it. So, and of course I hadn't strapped yet, so also I'm getting my straps on here to make sure all my pipes are nice and supported. That way, just especially with these shark bite fittings and flex hoses, I don't want a lot of stress or pressure or anything on them. And then turn on the water, let it fill up, make sure it's full, and got all the air out of my pipes, and then I got it lit, and now we have hot water. Thanks for watching.